everyone, and welcome to yet another episode of Conversations with Iyobosa. The guest I have on today's show, she rarely grants interviews, and I have to pull some serious string to get her here. So suffice to say, I'm just happy she's here. She is a veteran in the Nollywood industry. She's a director, screenwriter, producer, and she has produced and worked with a lot of notable Nollywood actors in the industry. She's produced movies such as Special Jollof, She-Devil, Playboy, Reloaded, to name a few. So, do we have an idea who's here with me as a guest? Do you guys know? You know what? Let me just take you out of your misery. Welcome to the show, Miss Emem Isong. Really glad to have you here.
Nice being here too. Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening. Okay, so we're going to be talking about your story. I want to give viewers an idea of who you are. Of course, people know you. You're notable. Your movies and productions are fantastic. But let's get to know you. But let's get to know you a little bit more. Now, what was the moment you thought to yourself, aha, this is what I'm meant to be doing? Screenwriting, producing, directing. How did you tell yourself and know that this is the aha moment?
I would like to say that right from when I was a kid,
Okay.
I've always wanted to somehow be in entertainment. Maybe I didn't quite figure out how,
Okay.
but as far back as when I was about 10 or 11, I loved to watch TV. I loved to read, novels especially. So I wanted something in that direction when I got into school. And when I went into the university, the closest thing that I could do was theater arts.
Okay.
And that's what I chose most.
So that's what you studied?
That's what I studied.
Oh, right. Okay.
And then there wasn't anything like film. Well, we didn't really think about it. I think that time the only training school that was available in Nigeria for that kind of thing was the Just Film Institute. But
right.
I mean, nobody would, of course, want to think about it at that time. My parents didn't even they could not even understand why I said I wanted to study theater art, not to talk
and not medicine. Like, you don't be a doctor, you don't be a lawyer. You're like, what? Theater, what?
They were very upset with me, but that's what I wanted to do, and I kind of found joy in that. So when I finished school, because I needed to, of course, get a job at the time that I finished, there was really nothing like Nollywood. It wasn't really, maybe it had started a few pockets of films here and there, but it wasn't really.
Yeah, because Nollywood really started, I want to say what, in the last maybe 20 years, is it? Was it?
Yeah, about 1990 something. In the
maybe
90s,
right? Yeah.
Okay. So.
Okay.
But when I did my youth service, I think it was 1990. I mean, I'm old.
you're like, I'm dating myself here.
When I was in the bank, actually, I had to go and do some courses to be able to, of course, put food on my table.
Right.
But when I saw the first movie, that's kind of caught fire.
Okay. Do you remember who?
Yes,
who was what?
It was what do you call it? Living in Bondage.
Oh, of course.
Living in Bondage. There were other movies, Yoruba movies, but of course, it was of the language was a barrier.
Yeah.
But when Living in Bondage came, yes, it was Igbo, but it was subtitled.
Right.
Everybody was talking about it. I just quit my job, and I knew
that was it.
That was it. I quit my job, and I said, "This is where I belong." Everybody thought I was crazy, leaving the bank for the unknown. And at that time, it wasn't about money or fame or anything, because nobody really wanted to. We didn't even know what we're doing. I wanted to be creative.
That's where you wanted to be.
Yes, and that's how it started.
Wow, Living in Bondage. I remember watching that, and you're right. It just, I was younger then, right? But it really took on, and for us, it was kind of like, oh, wow.
Yes.
This is, because we're used to like Western movies, but then now there's this Nigerian movie in subtitles, and it was quite good. For its time.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what I remember.
Okay.
And it pushed me into, and I wanted to come in, not even just as an actress. I've always wanted to be behind the scenes.
Okay.
So I used to write. So when I saw that movie, that gave me an opportunity. I said, okay, I'm going to produce my movie. I was very young, and everybody thought I was crazy, but I said, well, I'm going to do this.
Oh, wow.
I went ahead and wrote my first movie, which was Breaking Point.
Okay.
That was in 1993, I think, and then I produced it myself.
and then the rest is history. The rest is history.
Yes.
So, and thank you for that background story. Oh my goodness. So these days, you're known as, back then, when Nollywood was young, and all that, it just seemed like people just used to churn out movies just for the sake of churning them out. You know, let's just produce the movies. But there's a new wave now, and you're known as one of the mavericks in this new wave movement, where you're producing movies that are seen as artful and with substance. So not just producing for the sake of producing. What are your thoughts about that?
I would say it could be because I was almost like an addict in terms of movies.
Okay.
Everybody in Lagos video clubs must have known me because I will borrow films from here and then not return it. I can't go back there. I have to look for another one.
Right.
to borrow the film. So I was really into movies.
Okay.
So for me, I wanted to make the kind of movie that I wanted to watch.
Okay.
So I would really take my time, and then I didn't really believe in going, playing to the gallery. When they say, okay, because ritual movies at the time,
right,
and
right,
they want to make money. For me, it was all about passion. It's all about what I was inspired to do at the time, and what I would like to see. I didn't care whether I was going to make money or not. If I have an inspiration, I'll just go out and make the movie. So maybe some people decided that my movies were good. Well, I was happy, but I was just doing what I was inspired to do.
Okay. Well, you're putting in your all and putting in the excellence, right? Because it's all about that. It's about, well, if I'm going to do this, right, I'm going to do it well, and I'm going to do it with like class and finesse. And you can see that.
Well, I try my best, and I also think that movies, I mean, it's all about the razzmatazz. At the time when we started, there wasn't much noise about it, or doing premieres and doing all the glamour
like
behind
we have now.
But then when I did my first movie, for some reason, my first movie was called Breaking Point.
Okay.
I just wanted to do it. I didn't have money, but I said,
when there's a will, you know that saying, when there's a will, there's a way.
Exactly. I said I must premiere this movie somehow.
Okay.
And I felt that to premiere the movie, I had to go to the island. That's the eat place, VI, everything. I got a hall there because got my colleagues from the bank.
Right.
And
just sponsor it now. Like just
even if I don't have money, bring something. And that's how we did the movie, and we did a premiere, and somehow.
That took on. Now there are premieres. You can't. It's almost like you can't even have a movie or publish a movie without having a premiere. It's almost like what are you doing now?
That's because we are now going to we're doing theatrical rounds, and really for publicity and for your movie to make a mark, it's easier and better at least to start doing that. Would even people who may not have wanted to promote it willingly, but because they are there wanting to post them, that adds to the publicity.
Buzz and that, Okay. Oh wow. And then there's Royal Arts Academy. Talk to us about this.
Royal Arts Academy is a dream I've always had. Also, I think is from the background of my parents were into academia. They loved education, especially my mom. I was from that background. And when I was doing movies, I felt that we didn't have enough training. There wasn't really any place you could go and say you are training for this in Nigeria. Yes, I studied theater arts, but this is theater art, the art of theater. And my major was actually choreography, dance. It had nothing to do with filmmaking. I learned on the job. I just liked, and I like to work with people. For me, I'm a producer. I like to bring people who know their work from in every department. So I felt that I needed some sort of meeting, a starting point or meeting point for people. I used to get a lot of calls back then. We want to join Nollywood. We want to join Nollywood. How do we do it? Where do we go? Then we had some place.
And is it joining Nollywood not from the angle of I want to act, but more like what you're doing? Like
more like everybody wants to act. Everybody wants to act. So that's why I thought of starting an acting school.
Oh right, okay.
And about I think it was 2010. I started thinking about opening an academy. And there wasn't any at the time, at least in Lagos. I called a few people together. A lot of people thought I was crazy as usual, but we started.
Crazy until proven. It's always like that,
We started and people loved it. It was not just a training ground. It was a meeting point somewhere for people to network,
Right.
to know exactly what's happening in the industry. I used to also encourage my colleagues, just come there if you have an audition. Look at what we do. Well, come and do master classes. You never know what you can see. And I'm so happy that a lot of them from Royal Arts, we've been around for over
About
10
12
years, I think,
yeah.
yeah.
Say 2010, yeah.
And so many, there have been so many stars now
From that
from
base.
Royal Arts Academy.
So look
yes.
at that. So you're
So-
you're doing a good job. That
Oh,
is, and to me that's what matters. You know, it's like what kind of impact are you having on the society, on Nigeria? You know, and this is fantastic right there. I mean, to be able to say your movies or your academy has churned out these many talented people. I mean, it speaks volumes.
Yes,
Yeah.
and I also talk to a lot of people about going behind the scene because it's not only about acting.
Okay.
And I'm so happy that we have also turned up producers, makeup artists, production managers. A lot of people I know, like for example, I always give this example when I'm being asked. There's a guy who came to the academy for acting. But there's
Okay.
also another lady they came for acting. I had to tell them, I said, look, everything is not all about acting. Think about another career in this industry.
Okay.
And I'm so glad that some of them took that advice. A lot of them are big producers today.
Oh wow.
A lot of them are big directors today.
Right.
And they're doing so well. So many other aspects of production, not just acting. I mean, I can't act. I didn't start as an actor. But people still know me somehow, even though I like to be behind the scenes.
Right.
So Royal Arts is not just for acting, it's for the whole total theater kind of thing. Everything.
Okay. So let me just go ask one question in terms of, you know, the art of storytelling, right? Which is what you do, you know, screenwriting, producing and directing. I'm passionate about Nigeria. I'm passionate about Africa, and we know that some of the narrative out there about, you know, our continent, there's a lot that can be improved upon. So where do you see the art of storytelling in terms of helping to shape or rewrite that narrative?
I think we're getting better at that. We're being very more intentional now, especially the new crop of filmmakers. I like what's happening. Yes, they are being very intentional in the kind of stories that they are telling, because really it's important for us to change the narrative.
It is.
I mean, especially the negative aspects. I mean, how people see us outside Nigeria. There's so many things we can use film really to correct this impression. And I am happy that a lot of my colleagues are doing that. I'm one of those that I love advocacy films. If I have an opportunity, I do a couple of them just to say something.
Just to make that point,
Yes,
you know, drive home that point.
I try, but entertainment, even if we're doing films that that have to do with social change or anything, I believe in it being very entertaining. You can still do that,
get the message across,
and still make the film quite entertaining.
Kill like 5 birds with 1 stone. That's what I call it, right? No, it's fantastic, and yes, everyone's appreciating it. I mean, I have friends who are non-Nigerians, you know, maybe African Americans. The minute, and they're such Nollywood movie fans, you know.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh no, I have tons of them. Some of them are so diehard that when a new movie comes out, they've already seen it, and they're like, "Hey, Yobosa, you know, have you seen it?" I'm like, "No, I'm yet to watch it." You know, they're like, "Oh wow, I'm like, "Whoa, okay." So it's fantastic what you do. So let's segue a little bit now into maybe getting to know you a bit more personally, right? So I'm gonna ask you, what is the most, if you had to like go back in time, what's the most memorable thing you can remember about the street you grew up on? It could be anything, maybe the smells of it, maybe the people that were around, maybe what was it? The neighbors, the neighborhood, you know.
Well, if I remember, I grew up in a very small town in Akwa Ibom.
Okay.
Called Ikodekbene. And we used to walk to school because it wasn't far, and besides, it wasn't a big deal there.
Right.
There's this, should I call it an orchard?
Okay.
That was not far from there. So on our way to school or back from school, we were always going in there. I got into trouble so many times because of going to that place, especially, and if my mom is looking for me, I used to like to escape
to that
house chores.
Right.
So I would go there. So one day I know they were looking for me. But yes, that's one memorable experience.
Okay.
And I ran to the tree. I climbed the tree. I was quite tomboyish then. I was reading and I loved reading. I didn't want anybody to disturb me from my novels. So I went up the tree somewhere
So go and
close
read
by to
up
go
on the
and
tree.
read. I was sitting on a branch, and unfortunately,
You
he
broke.
fell. I fell.
You're
It broke.
joking.
So I fell, and my hand, I dislocated my hand.
Oh,
It was
no.
horrible. I mean, I was running from home. I had to come home crying, and of course, I was.
They will
Despite
beat you
the
on top
pain, they
now.
beat me well
Where?
before
Like,
they took me to
do you know what you
hospital.
just did for your mom? You just give her extra stress. No, no, no. She will be.
She was so upset, but I can never forget that.
See?
But those were memories that I
Memorable.
really, really, I mean, liked. I loved that particular place. I used to go there. It was like my
Your
sanctuary.
safe haven.
Exactly.
Right. Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah. No, I need to do like an episode or two on just people, having guests just recollect the childhood memories. It's one thing that I really like. Okay, what is your favorite appetizer or AKA small chops?
Puff puff. I love it.
You like it? Yes, especially when it's nice and warm. You know, like just fresh out of the. Okay, tell us something we don't know about you, but that will surprise us.
I'm very playful.
You're very playful.
Yes.
So no one knows this about you.
I'm
Are
very
you
playful,
serious?
and a lot of people don't know. They think I'm all serious. Especially, I mean, but people who are close to me know that I'm really playful.
All right.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I learned something new about you today. Okay. So this last one, I want you to please give a huge shout out to your fans out there and to your family. Just feel free.
My name is Emem Isong-Misodi. Once more, I'd like to shout out to everyone watching Conversations with E12. Please keep watching. Don't change that dial.
Thank you so much,
Oh,
Miss
thank you.
Emem Isong, for being on the show. I really appreciate it, and I think just getting to know you behind the scenes, because that's how I call it, right? The fact that, I mean, like you said, no one knows you. You're not too many people know you're playful, but they know that you're this fantastic screenwriter, director, movie producer, and we'll just keep enjoying your productions. I'd really love to, on behalf of my viewers and I, thank you so much for taking the time out, and I hope to see you again on the show.
Yes, thank you. And then a movie of mine is coming out soon.
Okay.
Hammer on the 26th of August. Please let everyone go and watch in the Nigerian cinema.
Oh wow. Okay. No, definitely.
Thank you.
Okay. Viewers, there you have it. The delightful, utmost delightful Miss Emem Isong. Really happy to have her here. You heard her. Hammer is going to be out in August. Go watch it. And I think it features, who does it feature? Who are some of the notable?
Bimbo Ademoye,
Oh.
Deyemi,
Okay.
Mr. Macaroni.
You don't even have to say. You don't have to say anymore. There's between these two people, So go watch it if you haven't. It promises to be fun. And until the next episode of Conversation with You, but you heard her, right? Follow this dial. If you've not subscribed, go and subscribe. Hit the subscribe button. You've heard her. You want to stay here. This is where magic happens. Until next time on the show, I say you stay safe and have a super sparkling time. Bye now.